How's it going, guys? This is my beautiful girlfriend Mariel here,
Hello.
and today we are at the Wildlife Animal Sanctuary, and they have a bunch of really cool lions, tigers, bears, and some more stuff as well. So we're gonna go walk around here and see what we can find. So, guys, I tried to talk over on these clips while I was there, but unfortunately, the wind was a little worse than I thought when checking back on the audio, so unfortunately, I'm just going to have to voice over this again. But I'm able to give you more information and give you some stories on actually how some of these animals were saved. So, if you're listening up for those, I'll go over sort of one story for each species. Some of them are pretty heartbreaking, so I'm warning you might be a little bit of an emotional video, but it's a sanctuary, so all the heartbreaking stories that you'll hear um, every single one of those animals are living their best lives now. So, the Wildlife Animal Sanctuary has 4 facilities. They have 3 here in Colorado and 1 in Texas. This one and the one in Texas are the only 2 that are open to the public. In total, they have over 33,000 acres of land, and they care for more than 750 lions, tigers, bears, wolves, jaguars, cheetahs, leopards, mountain lions, camels, mustangs, yak, kangaroos, and so many more. So, obviously, as you can see, we had a really good time. That's my dad and my brother dancing to the Lion King theme song because they had this whole little display here, which was really cool. So, go ahead and starting off with one of the first animals that you see here are the foxes. So they have a lot of different species. They have red foxes, kit foxes, arctic, tree foxes, black and silver foxes. So if you didn't know, foxes are actually part of the dog family. They are one of the most widespread carnivores on the planet due to the fact that they are just so adaptable and can basically live in almost every environment that they are introduced to. So I'm pretty sure they're in every single region in the northern hemisphere. And then they were also introduced into Australia by humans. So they're just absolutely everywhere. If you're in a big city, you've also even seen foxes just running around, mainly mainly when it is nighttime because they have gained nocturnal tendencies. So at least that's when I've seen foxes running around Denver. Usually, when you go a little bit further out, you can see them running around at dusk or something. But I mainly see foxes all the time at night out in Denver. Um, so a lot of other foxes are actually endangered, unfortunately. The red fox is totally fine. So if that's one of your favorite foxes, then you're all good in that area. You don't gotta worry. But you also probably don't know a lot of the other types of foxes that are out there because there are some that are so much cuter. So go ahead and do some fox research. Figure out which fox is actually your favorite because there are a lot of cuties out there, but unfortunately they are endangered, most likely, mainly for their pelts and stuff like that. Like back in like the 50s, uh, fox around your neck was kind of like a staple and sort of like a little flex, if you will. um, but thankfully it's not really the fashion statement anymore, and you're more likely to get dragged on for it rather than celebrated for it. So props to people for that one. They're not really being hunted that much anymore. And yeah, I'm not too sure on how their numbers are going as of late, but um, yeah, just adorable little animals. This guy was all loafed up here on a log and just so cute. Males are called Reynards and females are called Vixen. So if you've ever been called a Vixen, basically just calling you a female fox. So calling you very slyly. I'm going to go ahead and go over one of the first stories we have here today. If you are lighthearted and emotional, go ahead and just skip forward 30 seconds, like I would. But Marble, she's one of the foxes. It doesn't say which species, and also you can find all of the stories on how every single one of these animals were rescued on their website, actually. So go ahead and check out their website. It goes over all the information that I'm pretty much talking about today, and all of these stories that I got from. So Marble was a part of 18 animals rescued from inside a mall in Iowa, where a man had what he called a wildlife education display. You can't see my air quotes I put around that, but obviously not that great. But he had animals locked inside cages for years on end, sitting day after day on concrete floors scattered with wood chips and bark in order to make them seem natural and with no sunlight or fresh air to be had. These animals were being forced to exist in one of the most unnatural environments possible. Now Marble and the rest of these animals live in large habitats where they can run and play freely for the first time in their lives. So, pretty heartbreaking story, I know, but it is unfortunately how a lot of these guys got here is due to abusive previous owners or people that were just using them for money. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to coyotes. They were the next sort of set of animals that they had here for us to check out. I'm not going to talk too much on coyotes. If you're an American or Canadian, you know coyotes. They're pretty much like cats and dogs over there. They're absolutely everywhere. And you've probably also seen them maybe as much as you've seen foxes. So, um, some alternative names are the prairie wolf or bush wolf, if you didn't know. And also, they're omnivores, so just another reason why they're able to go everywhere. If they can't find food in places, they're going to travel, a couple hundred miles for a new place to call home and kick up their feet. Um, so, yeah, not much to touch on about coyotes. They do have kind of a small, sad story. So, four of their coyotes, Cheeky, Igor, Polga, and Brownie. So these coyotes came from a small town zoo located in central Mexico. There were some of many smaller animals that were being kept in small wire crates stacked on top of each other 24 hours a day. The zoo knew it was a terrible life for these beautiful coyotes, so they asked the sanctuary to rescue them and bring them to Colorado where they could live in a nice, large, natural habitat where they can roam freely for the rest of their lives. So, um, yeah, sad as well, but at least the owners were kind enough to realize that, this wasn't suitable and it needed a change. Next up here we have lynx. Lynx are so cool. I couldn't tell if this was a lynx or a bobcat, and they look very much alike, but bobcats are part of the lynx family, so I'm just going to sort of put them all together. But they do have lynx and bobcats, in case you were wondering. Um, so, cool little fact about lynxes. I wish I had more footage, or else I would talk more about these guys, but they actually have natural snow feet. So I wish I got a shot of them, but this guy's paws were absolutely huge. Um, and yeah, they're just so cool. It's one of those animals where it's just like for the first time, you just gotta take a second look. So yeah, very, very cool. Short story about one of their male lynx, Chester. This was due to a state attorney confiscation, and Chester was one of hundreds of animals confiscated from a rural roadside zoo that had fallen afoul of state animal welfare laws due to animals living in horrific conditions and subject to neglect and abuse. That Wild Animal Sanctuary rescued Chester as a young kitten, as well as 23 other animals, including Chester's parents, Finn and Myra, and older sister, Leia. This incredibly close and adorable lynx family now get to live great lives where they will always be loved and cared for and be able to live as naturally as possible with all the amenities a lynx family could ever ask for, which is lovely to hear. At least the fact that, they're living great lives now, not that, uh, having crappy owners previously. Moving on, they also have African servals. These guys are basically like baby cheetahs. I think they're so cool, and they have a couple cool facts about them. Um, African servals actually have the longest leg to body ratio of any cat, hence the name giraffe cat. I didn't know that before I went there and was talking to the guy about it. Um, they have the largest ears of any cat, and I'm not too sure on this, but I have heard it. I should have asked the guy when I was there. There's a couple volunteers walking along the boardwalk, um, and yeah, I was just talking to a couple of them every now and then, but they can communicate with their pee. So do your own research with that as you will. I'm not entirely sure on how the process works, but I have heard that they do that. Yeah. And then next up, we have wolves. Wolves are so cool. Everybody loves wolves, besides probably farmers who have to deal with wolves on a day to day basis. But if not, you love wolves. So, wolves are the biggest member of the Canidae family. If you thought wolves were small, like your cute little Labrador or something like that, you're very wrong. I'm tired of people saying that, like you can maybe take on a wolf in a fight or something. I think that's ridiculous. Wolves can get up to 6.5 feet, 32 inches at the shoulder, and 110 pounds. So I don't know what people are saying when, they think they might have a chance against wolves. They can also have a bite force of up to 1,500 pounds per square inch. So you're just wrong. I'm sorry, but you're just wrong. Um, some other cool facts is that, they mate for life. So uh, loyal as a dog, loyal as a wolf, same exact thing. Um, they also have over 200 and millions, 200 million scent cells. So they just can track their prey for a very, very long time. Um, they have a bunch of different types of wolves here. I'm not entirely too sure. It didn't say what species they have. I was finding their species on the rescue lists, so um, you're going to see this black guy and then some other ones coming up here in a minute. Um, but if you think a wolf can't hear you, they can actually hear up to 6 miles in a forest. So if you've never seen a wolf, it's because they don't want to be seen. They're probably around you, but they just don't want to be seen. They're actually very scared of humans nowadays. They're not like they're not gonna be going out of their way to try and find you. I'm not entirely sure if this is true. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there have been more, but apparently only two fatalities have happened, at least recorded and like confirmed that it was by wolves in the 21st century. So I'm sure more people have gotten lost out in the woods and then injured, and then like wolves maybe finished the job or something like that. But yeah, apparently only two that were confirmed kills by wolves. So um, yeah, I don't believe that entirely, but probably are more out there. But we'll just leave it at that for the wolves' sake. Um, wolves are they were actually one of the very first animals to be placed on the U.S. Endangered List Act in back in '73. So very hurtful thing, and I know they're making a bounce back in Yellowstone National Park back in the United States. So, which is very, very comforting to hear because wolves are one of those keystone species where if you don't have wolves, kind of the entire ecosystem crashes, mainly due to the fact that they can eat so much, like elk and deer, who, if not killed off, then they're going to overgraze the land, and it's just uh, huge, huge economy failures after that. So, we'll go on to another sad story. So, Macy was a female wolf. She was one of the 24 animals suffering from a declining care at an animal rescue facility in Spearfish, South Dakota. Accepting both domestic and exotic animals, the facility began to suffer from overcrowding and mismanagement. As a result, the USDA stepped in when many of the exotic animals, including tigers, a lion, other wolves, and bears, showed signs of being undernourished because the facility's director was initially unwilling to surrender the animals. The USDA prepared to legally confiscate the affected animals. However, at the last minute, the director acquiesced, acquiesced, and the animals were surrendered to the Wild Animal Sanctuary. Macy can now look forward to living out the rest of her life with plenty of food to eat, living in a wolf pack, and having acres and acres of room to roam. And that's pretty much going to do it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and go ahead and stay tuned for Tuesday's video when we go over so much more of the bigger and badder animals that they have here at the Wildlife Animal Sanctuary. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.